Welcome back to Scotting Movies, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about another biopic. We talked about one last time with Bird. This time we're going to be talking about another one that peels back the layers of a particular person. But we're not going to come back um, and feel awe-inspired about this person because we're really peeling back not just the layers of the good side of this person, but some of the darker sides of her as well. This is about Dian Fossey, the person who worked with gorillas in Africa and protected them from poaching, doing some pretty intense things to protect the gorillas from poaching. This movie is called Gorillas in the Mist. Um, it's bold, it's beautiful, it's deeply unsettling, and it really peels back the layers of a person who delved deeper into obsession. So, what is this movie about? It tells the real life story of Dian Fossey, a passionate, sometimes volatile zoologist who devoted her life to studying and protecting the endangered mountain gorillas of Rwanda. At first, she's just a curious researcher, out of her depth but full of drive. But as she forms close bonds with the gorillas, especially one named Digit, her work turns personal. When poachers start killing the animal she's grown to love, she shifts her focus to something darker. A lone crusader, willing to break rules, threaten locals, and lose herself in the jungle to protect what's left. This isn't a story of triumph, it's a story of what happens when commitment crosses a line. Uh, so I'm trying to think what to start with here. Let's start with Sigourney Weaver, who plays Dian Fossey. She gives one of her most fearless performances here. That's saying a lot for the woman who gave us Ellen Ripley and Aliens. In the beginning, there's a spark in her eyes. Diane feels like someone who's open. She's curious. She's even a little bit awkward in her passion for the gorillas. But as the film goes on, that spark turns into something a little bit more dangerous. Her voice gets harder. Her movements start to lose their softness. You can actually see her shedding her identity as a person and taking on something wild or almost feral. Uh, there's this scene later in the movie, and I'm not going to spoil what happens in the scene because it's a pivotal piece of history as well as what really happened and uh, and it's a crucial turning point in the film. But so I'm not going to spoil it exactly. But you look at her in this moment, and you think she's not studying gorillas anymore. She's become one. She is one of this group. She's one of this species essentially. That's what makes this performance so electric. Is that she doesn't just play Dian Fossey. She's lets her unravel just right before our eyes. It's not always comfortable. It's not meant to be. Uh, Visually, the movie is stunning, but not in that postcard kind of way. The cinematography leans into the thick, wet, green intensity of this jungle. It's not there to necessarily look pretty, it's there to trap you the way that we feel trapped with Diane. She's not uh, technically trapped. She has become part of the species and she traps us as the, excuse me, as the film watchers, as the viewers of this film, in there with her. She becomes more and more cut off from people and more uh, assimilated into the species of the gorillas. This jungle becomes this physical manifestation of this headspace. It's beautiful, but it's isolating. It's peaceful, but it's unforgiving. By the third act, it's not just Diane who's stuck in this world. We are too. The film builds with a slow, steady tension. There's not a whole lot of big showdowns necessarily. There are some with Diane and poachers and Diane and some of uh, the political leaders in Rwanda. Uh, it's just this steady drumbeat of obsession that continues to march onward. Where Gorillas in the Mist separates itself from the pack. Most biopics would treat Diane Fossey like a saint because she really did uh, work to preserve a very endangered species, the Rwandan gorillas. But in this one, it looks her square in the eyes and says, "Are you sure about this?" Because For every moment of compassion and courage, in which there are several, there's an undercurrent of control, of anger, of crossing the line of what is legal and what is moral in the lines in the name of righteousness. There's other people that are working with her. It's not just her alone out there. She has a team of people, and they begin to see the same things that we begin to see: the obsession that's taking control, the lack of humanism, the lack of humanity within her, as she begins to take on more aspects of a gorilla's personality, protecting her family. In this case, the gorillas. She sets traps. She threatens locals. She isolates herself from anyone trying to help. She becomes, in her own way, just as dangerous as the people she's fighting against. There's a moment where she traps the poachers, who had come to obviously kill some of the gorillas, and the way that she goes about what she's going to do is really immoral, illegal, and inhumane. Uh, and so you start to wonder: Am I going to treat? Am I going to cheer for this woman? Is she someone that I want to cheer for? Because there's a point where, yes, you want to protect the endangered gorillas, but at what cost? The film doesn't necessarily condemn her, but it doesn't glorify her either. It just sits in the gray and asks you to decide. Uh, if you decide that you side with the gorillas in this case, and treating anyone who poaches and kills these gorillas as less than human, you're justified. Uh, but if you think that people deserve some humanity as well, uh, and sorry, I'm thinking of how to say this. If you feel that people deserve to be treated human ways as well, then you're justified thinking that way too. Which way do you think? In some ways, it's a little bit of both, because you think that someone who, I think that someone who poaches gorillas and is killing innocent little animals out there, big animals at times, baby animals, they deserve to be treated inhumane. But at the same time, at, at what at what point do you say you're going too far? And that's what this movie is trying to let you decide. Uh, so a big question here: How did they film this? Because a lot of what you're looking at looks like real people hanging out with gorillas. Part of that is real, uh, but they couldn't get too close to the gorillas, the real actors. Obviously, you're around little gorillas, and mommy gorilla is gonna mess you up, and so you couldn't get too close all the time, the way that this movie does. And so the real MVP of this movie is Rick Baker. He's the makeup and effects legend. He created these hyper realistic gorilla suits for the close up scenes, and they are mind blowingly good. You think you're looking at real gorillas the whole time, and it passes the muster of looking at close ups of like this close to the faces of gorillas that are looking as realistic as possible. No CGI at this time. No shortcuts. You don't have Andy Serkis in a motion capture suit the way that Rise of the Planet of the Apes and all of those movies would do it later. That technology didn't exist at this time. This is pure makeup, pure costumes, pure craftsmanship. These gorillas move and emote with a fluidity that's still impressive today. The baby gorillas maybe not quite as convincing. You can tell that they're saying, okay, this one's giving Chuck E. Cheese vibes, but for the most part, it's seamless, especially with the older gorillas and the actors that are in the suits. It's a testament to practical effects and a director who knew how to blend real natural footage with on-set wizardry without breaking that illusion. It is probably one of the best technical aspects of this film, and of any film of this year. Seeing these makeup and costume design. Um, I've talked a lot about this movie. Uh, it's not an easy watch. It's not uplifting necessarily. It's not a cheer-worthy underdog story. It's a quiet tragedy about a woman who gave everything to her cause and lost herself in the process, and what that means. I mean, in some ways, it's heroism. It's heroism to be able to give everything of yourself to a cause that you believe in. In another case, you lost your humanity along the way. If you're up for something morally complex like that, emotionally raw, technically breathtaking, this is a kind of film that lingers with you. Sigourney Weaver is mesmerizing. The visual effects are still impressive, and the questions the movie raises, they don't have easy answers. That's exactly the point, because this is a real person who had uh, very strong opinions, and you had to really question some of the things that she did. It's a haunting piece of work. Maybe not perfect, but brave, challenging, quietly devastating in all the right ways. The grade I'm going to give Gorillas in the Mist is a B plus. Um, I think it's very powerful. I think it's morally complex. It makes you decide whose side you're on and how much you believe in uh, protecting animals versus how much you believe in being uh, human to humans. Um, it's a really difficult way of trying to phrase that, and I hope you understand what I'm saying. So, have you seen Gorillas in the Mist? What do you think about the morally complex tones of this movie? Uh, do you know about Dian Fossey? Do you know some of the things that I'm intentionally leaving out here? Some of the things that happened throughout the story, and how that caused her to lose more of her humanity and side more with the gorillas. Um, do you know more about her as a person? Please share, comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you think about these. So, thanks everyone, and I will see you next time.